Time for another episode of Council Bluffs Today, presented by Waldstein Plumbing. Hi, I'm Todd Studer. Today we're going to start with a question. When someone in Council Bluffs needs the product or service that you provide, do they think of you? I don't mean whether they've seen your logo on a random flyer or maybe they've driven past your physical building out on West Broadway. What I mean is, do they actually recognize your face? Do they know what you do? Most importantly, do they trust you? That is where video podcasting makes a massive difference for a local organization. A lot of people hear the word podcast, they immediately think about a traditional corporate media format. They think it's just an extra chore to add to an already busy marketing list. But podcasting experts point out a massive flaw in how brands look at content. Most companies treat a podcast as a simple commercial channel where they pitch products. In reality, top media strategists, including this one, say that a podcast is the single best way to build relationship authority. It's about starting conversations of value that keep people engaged over time. We're talking about using video to become a familiar, trusted face to the people in the community you already serve. Look at what we do every single day with Council Bluffs Today. We go out on location. We go to local spots like Juanito's, highlighting and thanking area businesses. We sit down with local experts and leaders, and we talk about real community issues. We don't just put audio out into the world. We put faces, storefronts, and real local stories directly on the screen. And the exact same thing happens on Pottawatomie County routes. We head out to Botana Bend near Hancock. We talk about our county parks, our local bison, and our history, and we sit down with the county recorder at the studios on Willow, unpack exactly how property fraud alerts work to protect homeowners. We take the cameras sometimes out to a local coffee shop like Brewed Awakening in Avoca, feature a young entrepreneur who's taking a big risk on Main Street. We do not just talk about Pottawatomie County, we visually show it. So for most local businesses and nonprofits, you don't need a nationwide audience of 100,000 people. What you do need is the right people in Council Bluffs, in Pottawatomie County, in Southwest Iowa, or wherever you do business. You want them to recognize you on screen and understand what you can do for them. A video podcast gives you the visual space to build that real connection. Think about a normal advertisement around here. You look at a billboard or listen to a quick 30-second radio spot. You hope someone remembers a phone number or a business name, but most people, they won't. 30 seconds is just not enough time to build a genuine relationship. Podcast data shows that audience attention spans are shifting drastically toward long-form, intentional audio and video. Studies consistently find that listeners are far more likely to consider a brand after hearing it on a podcast compared to traditional media. Marketing experts point out that unlike social media users who mindlessly scroll past random ads, podcast listeners tune in with fewer distractions. They give you their focused attention for 15, 20, or sometimes even 30 straight minutes. Someone might watch you talk while they unwind at home or scroll through their social feeds. They see your expressions. They see your office or your storefront, and they see exactly how you treat people and how you handle questions. And by the end of that video, they feel like they actually know you. You do that consistently, and you are no longer just a generic business name or a faceless charity logo. You become the familiar expert they see talking about the subject. That on-screen familiarity, it matters, and it matters immensely. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. That is known everywhere. And video builds that exact feeling before a customer ever walks through your physical doors. When you build this independent platform, you stop begging traditional media for coverage. You stop paying massive regional stations for ads that reach clear across the river to people who are never coming here. You take total control of your own distribution, your own message, and your own audience attention. So why do a video podcast instead of buying local ads? Because local ads disappear the second you stop paying for them. If you buy a radio spot or a newspaper slot, your message is gone in a flash. But a video podcast is yours, and it's yours forever. Experts call this owning your media asset. You're building a digital house on your own land instead of renting space on someone else's platform. When you build and when you put a video on your site or on your channel, it keeps working for you. It stays online while you sleep. It talks to customers while you're busy running your business. It is a permanent tool that builds value every single day. Traditional local media will always put the biggest towns first. They focus on Omaha because that's where the biggest crowd is. They don't care about the small shops in our towns. A video podcast lets you fix this. You become your own TV station and you choose who you talk to. You choose what stories matter. You don't need an editor's permission to share your message with your neighbors. So let's look at why this works so well for a local small business. When you sit in front of a camera and share genuine knowledge, you're doing what business consultants call building an expertise library. Unlike a standard commercial that runs for a week and disappears, a podcast episode is an evergreen asset. The video you record today, it stays online forever, and it continually educates local customers and reinforces your credibility months or even years down the road. Business growth experts highlight that leads generated through a podcast show, and they show a unique tendency to convert faster and they spend more money. This happens because the content builds a pre-existing relationship before the sales conversation ever starts. By delivering real value up front, you remove the traditional friction of local marketing. You stop chasing cold leads and start attracting people who already view you as the definitive expert in town. Industry data shows that consumer buying habits have changed completely. People no longer trust cold pitches, flashing sales signs, or generic claims about being the best in town. They want transparent proof that you know your craft inside and out. So if you operate a specialized service company, a video podcast gives you a stage to display that proof without looking arrogant. You're just answering the exact questions your market is already asking. So instead of pitching, you're teaching. This shifts your position in the local economy entirely. You cease to be a commodity that people shop around for based on who has the lowest price. You become a premium service provider because your audience has watched you break down complex issues on screen for months. Experts call this process a continuous lead nurture sequence. That's a lot of words. In a small market, a potential customer might realize they have a problem, but they're not ready to pull the trigger on a major purchase immediately. They might wait 3 months, maybe 6 months, or a year before they make a decision. During that waiting period, traditional marketing fails because you can't afford to run billboards or radio spots every single day to keep their attention. But if you have a video show, that potential customer can watch your clips every week. They consume your insights while they're sitting on their couch. You are actively answering their unstated worries and building deep trust while they wait. When they finally reach the point where they are ready to buy, the competition's been completely eliminated. They don't look up other companies in the phone book or search online for reviews. They call you directly because you have been virtually sitting in their living room for months, guiding them through the decision-making process before they ever spent a single dollar. This strategy changes your internal networking completely. When you host a video show, you hold an asset that other business owners value, a platform with an audience. You can invite other local entrepreneurs onto your show to talk about their own journeys. This creates a powerful B2B referral network that runs on pure reciprocity. The business owners you feature, they'll naturally share their interview clips with their own customer base, their families, and their friends. This means their pre-existing audience is instantly introduced to your brand through a trusted source. You're not forcing your way into their feeds with a cold advertisement. You're being shared by a peer that they already support. This organic crossover expands your local visibility faster than any paid ad campaign ever could, grounding your business firmly at the center of the local commercial ecosystem. So why else do local business owners need this engine? Because it completely solves the problem of modern trust. In a world where anyone can make a fancy website, people are naturally skeptical. They assume your online reviews might be fake. They assume your promises are just sales talk. Video strips all of that fake layer away, and a customer can look into your eyes and they can hear your tone of voice. They can tell if you actually care about helping them or if you're just looking for a quick paycheck. This visual connection builds deep safety. It's very hard to fake your personality and your skill for 20 minutes on a video screen. When you show up every week with real answers, the skepticism melts away. You don't have to sell yourself anymore because the video has already done all of the hard work for you.
Jason James, Yvette Purdue, and Jake Stander are JPS Realty Group, your friends in real estate, based in Council Bluffs and serving clients across Council Bluffs, Omaha, and beyond. They help buyers and sellers move forward with local knowledge and personal guidance from the first showing through closing. When it's time to find a home or sell the one you own, put the JPS team to work for you. Learn more at jps.heartlandproperties.com. If you have a leak, a clogged drain, or even if you're planning a big remodel, Waldstein Plumbing in Council Bluffs has you covered. With fast, reliable service and expert craftsmanship, handling everything from small repairs to major installations. They're locally owned and trusted and take pride in doing the job right the first time. Residential or commercial, big or small, when plumbing problems strike, they're the ones to call. Visit waldsteinplumbing.com. Technology should work for you, not against you. At ThinkSpace IT, they provide expert IT solutions to keep your business running smoothly and securely. From cybersecurity and cloud services to network management and tech support, they simplify IT so you can focus on what matters most. Stay protected, stay connected, stay ahead. Visit ThinkSpaceIT.com.
Now let's think about nonprofits or foundations and charities that serve our county. The biggest challenge for a local nonprofit is making people care deeply about your mission. Charts, numbers, bar graphs on a piece of paper, they don't move people to actual action. They look cold and clinical. Video allows your true impact to be seen and felt. Industry data shows that mission-driven organizations are increasingly turning to podcasting because modern audiences are completely tired of polished PR campaigns, scripted corporate videos, and impersonal press releases. They want raw storytelling, genuine human emotion, and completely transparent conversations. A video podcast acts as a perfect connection tool for your donor base. It keeps your current supporters deeply engaged between major annual fundraising galas or seasonal donation drives. So instead of asking for money through cold, uninspired direct mail letters, you use video to bring donors straight inside your daily operations. They see the exact faces of your staff, hear the real stories of the community, and witness the direct outcomes of their financial support right here in Pottawatomie County. This changes the entire dynamic of giving. Donors no longer feel like they're throwing money into a black hole of administrative costs. They see themselves as active partners in a living, breathing local movement. This medium also creates a completely safe, anonymous bridge for individuals who actually need your assistance, but they may be terrified to ask for it. Asking for help carries a heavy social stigma, so whether a family is facing food insecurity, housing instability, or mental health struggles, walking through the physical doors of a charity building takes an immense amount of courage. A video podcast lowers that barrier to entry completely. A person in need can watch your show from the total privacy of their smartphone. They can observe your team's expressions, listen to your language, and gauge your empathy long before making physical contact. If they see you talking warmly, respectfully, and compassionately about the struggles local families face, their fear evaporates. They realize your organization is a safe haven, not a place of judgment. This anonymity protects their dignity while guiding them smoothly toward the resources that can transform their lives. Nonprofit experts emphasize that audio and video storytelling create what is known as donor stickiness. It's easy for a donor to write a single check after seeing a tragic picture or a shocking statistic, but they rarely stay committed long term based on guilt or shock alone. True long term financial stability for a nonprofit comes from donors who understand the deep structural reality of the work that you do. A video show gives you the necessary time to explain the complexities of your programs. You can spend 20 minutes explaining why a certain systematic issue exists in our county and how your team is fixing it. But when donors buy into your philosophy and see the ongoing visual proof of your success, they stop being casual givers. They become lifelong advocates who sustain your mission through thick and thin. So, why should a charity care about narrative transparency? Because competition for donations is fierce. Local donors are hit with requests from national charities every single day. Those national groups have massive budgets and slick marketing teams. A small, local nonprofit cannot outspend them on ads, but you can easily beat them on proximity. You can show the donor exactly where their dollar goes. You can show them the actual park, the exact school, or the local street where their money made a difference. When you use video to show that direct local impact, you build an ironclad bond with your supporters. They realize that giving to you means fixing their own home community. It keeps their dollars local because they can see the change with their own eyes on your show. This same visual strategy works wonders for local schools, town governments, municipal agencies, and civic clubs. Communication in small markets is often fundamentally broken. Rumors spread like wildfire on unmonitored local Facebook groups or neighborhood apps because citizens do not have access to the actual visual facts. When a city council passes a new ordinance or a school board alters a long-standing policy, the public often reacts with immediate confusion and anger. This friction occurs simply because there is an information vacuum. Major regional news outlets don't have the time or the staff to cover the specific details of Pottawatomie County civic decisions, leaving residents to guess the intent behind the changes. A video podcast serves as a direct, unfiltered force for clarity and truth. Media experts note that podcasting allows public organizations to completely bypass traditional media gatekeepers. You don't have to wait for an Omaha news station to send a reporter over the river to misunderstand your project. You broadcast your unfiltered truth directly to the community yourself. When a school district or a city department uses video, it completely humanizes the entire institution. Parents and taxpayers see the real logic straight from the actual leaders making the decisions. They hear the tone of voice, see the sincerity in the eyes, and realize that these public servants are neighbors who genuinely care about the community's welfare. So imagine the immediate power of a school administrator sitting in front of a camera, visually addressing a major building renovation or a complex shift in boundary lines. Instead of sending out a dry, confusing email blast filled with legal jargon, they can hold up physical blueprints directly to the camera lens, and they can display maps on screen, trace the exact new bus routes with their finger, and explain the precise safety measures being put in place for the kids. This visual transparency eliminates speculation instantly. Parents can see exactly how the changes impact their daily routine. It all cuts through the online panic and replaces outrage with calm understanding. The exact same benefit applies to historic local civic groups like the Rotary or the Lions Club or area preservation societies. These organizations form the backbone of our community's volunteer network, but they frequently face a severe ongoing crisis of aging membership. Younger generations are just not joining because the clubs feel invisible or outdated to them. A video show completely modernizes the public footprint by taking the cameras directly into historic districts, filming local service projects in action, or interviewing scholarship recipients on screen. These clubs showcase their real world value. It transforms them from mysterious group meetings and closed basements into active, exciting, and highly visible networks that younger civic minded residents actually want to join. Why is stabilizing the civic landscape so important? Because a divided town can't grow. When rumors take over a community, people stop supporting local bonds and they stop voting for school improvements. They look at local government with anger and distrust. Sound familiar? A video podcast acts as a shield against that toxic digital chatter. It gives leaders a direct line to clear the air before a small issue snowballs into a giant public relations crisis. When you are the one holding the microphone, you set the tone. You don't have to argue with people in comment sections. You just lay out the visual proof on your show. Let the facts speak for themselves. This builds a healthier, calmer, and more cooperative town for everyone.
When it's time for lunch, get away from the drive-thru and head to the Dock Bar and Grill in Council Bluffs. Whether you're hungry for a burger, sandwich, pizza, basket, salad, or just one of the daily specials, the Dock has plenty of choices and a comfortable place to enjoy a real meal. It's perfect for meeting friends, grabbing lunch with coworkers, or taking a well-earned break from the workday. Make the Dock your lunch destination. 401 Veterans Memorial Highway in Council Bluffs. Service Master Restore by Schmader knows it can be hard to get things back to normal when you've suffered serious property damage due to flooding, fire, or smoke, and that can oftentimes lead to mold, and you may be left with all sorts of questions about how to get your home or business back to normal. It's easy. You give Cindy Schmader a call with Service Master Restore by Schmader. Her phone number, 402-339-9911.
Let's look now at why a podcast serves as the ultimate highly efficient marketing engine for a busy professional or an overworked organization director. Podcasting experts emphasize that you must never view a show as just another separate task on your long to-do list. If you look at it that way, you will inevitably abandon it within a few weeks just from sheer exhaustion. So instead, you need to learn that a video podcast should be treated as the centralized power plant that fuels your entire digital presence. It's a single production event that systematically generates all of your monthly marketing assets in one fell swoop. Thinking about the traditional draining loop of social media marketing? Well, most small business owners and nonprofit directors wake up every single morning with a sense of dread, wondering what on earth should they post on Facebook or Instagram today. They scramble to snap a random picture, write a hurried description, and throw it online, hoping that it works. This disorganized approach wastes immense mental energy and rarely produces actual business results. A video podcast eliminates this chaotic cycle entirely through the absolute power of asset repurposing. So, what does that mean? When you sit down and record one single high quality 20-minute video conversation, you've created a massive piece of raw intellectual property. That long form video can immediately be uploaded to platforms like YouTube to capture people searching for local information. But you don't stop there. That same 20-minute file can instantly be chopped into 5, 6, or 7 short vertical video clips. And those short clips are perfectly formatted for Facebook Reels, Instagram Stories, or YouTube Shorts. Because the modern social media algorithms heavily prioritize localized vertical video, these short clips will naturally be pushed directly into the feeds of people living right here in Council Bluffs and across Pottawatomie County. The leverage continues across every other digital platform you own. You can take the audio track from that video, publish it directly to traditional audio networks like Spotify and Apple Podcasts for people to consume during their morning commutes. You can take the automated text transcript of your conversation, refine it into an SEO optimized blog article for your corporate website, driving organic search traffic straight to your brand. You can pull out 2 or 3 of your most impactful quotes from the interview. Use them as text updates for your email newsletters. From a single afternoon of focused recording, you have generated a full month of daily high-value social media updates. And it actually saves you dozens of hours of creative strain while keeping your organization very visible, professional, and consistent in the local marketplace. Why do busy people need this content engine? Because time is your most precious resource. You don't have 30 hours a week to sit around creating internet content. You have to serve clients. You manage your staff and handle inventory, balancing the books. And if marketing feels like a second full-time job, you're going to stop doing it. The content engine solves this by turning 1 hour of talking into 30 different marketing pieces. It lets you work smart instead of working hard. You get to be the expert on camera for just a tiny slice of time. And then your team or your software distributes that expertise everywhere. It maximizes your digital footprint while minimizing your personal calendar output. So now let's look at the actual financial return on investment. The economic viability of a small market video, it does not depend on hitting millions of views. It doesn't need to trend nationally or rank on global charts. Yeah, those numbers look nice, but they don't mean anything. A hyper-local show operates purely on relationship value, not raw download volume. If you run a massive national podcast, your entire business model is trapped in a brutal numbers game. You have to claw and fight for millions of casual downloads just to make a few measly pennies from corporate program advertisements for mattress companies or generic software tools. It's exhausting, and it's also very low margin. But a small market video show flips that equation entirely. You don't need 1 million views to be wildly profitable. You only need 50 or 100 of the right views from residents living right here in our physical geographic footprint. If you operate a high value service business, such as an independent insurance agency, a financial planning firm, a local law practice, maybe a specialty contracting company or a medical clinic, a single new client can be worth thousands of dollars to your bottom line over the course of a single year. If your consistent video content helps just 2 or 3 local families choose your office over a competitor down the street, your show's paid for itself multiple times over. The minimal cost of your basic recording equipment and software overhead is covered instantly, leaving you with pure profit and unmatched local authority. Beyond the immediate financial metrics, we have to look at the deeper impact that this medium has on the actual culture, fabric, and legacy of our region. When you build a consistent video podcast, you're doing something that's far greater than deploying a clever marketing tactic. You're actively constructing a permanent, living, visual, and audio archive of the community. You're documenting the real faces, the actual voices, the hard-earned wisdom, and the inspiring stories of the local leaders, educators, and entrepreneurs who are building our towns right now. Think about how incredibly valuable that archive becomes as time marches on. Decades from now, future generations of residents and historians and family members will be able to look back and see exactly who shaped Pottawatomie County during this era. They'll hear the grit in the voices of the business owners who kept our main streets alive. They'll see the deep passion in the eyes of the charity directors who fought to protect vulnerable families. They will witness the care and dedication of our local public servants. That is an invaluable historical gift to the future of our community. It also serves as a powerful antidote to the intense cultural isolation we see so much today. Most people spend hours every day glued to screens, consuming national news cycles, global political arguments, and distant debates that happen thousands of miles away. And this constant stream of distant noise makes people feel anxious and helpless and completely disconnected from the surroundings. It makes the world feel incredibly fractured. Local video, audio, and content, it does the exact opposite. It anchors people back to reality. It reminds us and reminds your audience that right here in our own neighborhoods, there are incredible things happening every single day. It proves that there are good, hardworking, passionate people down the street who are actively building businesses, helping those in need, and making our county a phenomenal place to live. And it shifts the community's focus away from unsolvable global chaos and refocuses it into tangible local opportunities for connection, for growth, and positive impact. Operating in a smaller market, it's not a limitation. It is a privilege, and it allows a single dedicated voice to build deep local loyalty and have a lasting community legacy. If you would like to learn more about having a podcast for your business or organization, go to my website, lushillsmedia.com. I'd love to have a conversation with you, and we can see how we can get the process started for you. That's going to wrap up today's show. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Todd Studer. This is Council Bluffs Today, presented by Waldstein Plumbing, and I'll see you very soon.